This is the award-winning Lee Pitts Live.
Brought to you by the North Law Firm. For car accidents and negligent security cases, call Joe at 239-337-1191. And by Lee Health.
3, 2, 1, action.
Southwest Florida, welcome to another edition of Lee Pitts Live. Where are we? We're at the Florida Health Department, the Lee County version, right here on Pondella, and they have been an outstanding host for us. We'll be here the next 4 weeks interviewing a wide range of people covering a lot of topics. So big shout out to the Florida Health Department here in Lee County. We have a fabulous show in store for you today. We'll get a chance to talk about some of the things that are happening in healthcare, particularly as it relates to HIV and AIDS. We'll talk to Cathy Frazier, an advanced nurse, a practitioner with the Florida Health here in Lee County. Also, we get a chance to talk to Yuris. He's a community health educator with this organization as well. All that's happening on Lee Pitts Live. And then we'll go out to World AIDS Day, where we get a chance to talk to a dynamic mobile clinic that's gracing our place. We'll talk to the director of that mobile clinic. All that's happening on Lee Pitts Live. We'll be right back. Welcome back, Southwest Florida. You're looking live at the Florida Health Department here in Lee County. We're so thrilled to be here. We get a chance to talk to Yuris Velasquez.
Velasquez, yes.
All right, man.
That was great.
And Cathy, let's bump both of you in. Wanted to get that. Let people know I can have a little international flavor to the show. We're so thrilled to get both of you here to talk about something that's very critical to our community. And it's something that we need to continue to talk about and get the word out. So it's good to have you here. Yuris, we see that your title is a community health educator. What is that?
That's right. So basically, I take care of the education that goes on into the community. I focus on high schools, middle schools, colleges. So any educational agency that it's interested on me coming in there and talking about HIV, STDs, hepatitis. I also do education for the county jails, both downtown and the Ortiz campus. And I bring all this education to them, even though a lot of people assume that because you're older, you know all this information, but you'll be surprised that a lot of people don't know the difference between HIV/AIDS, how you get gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis. So that is my duty and my job to educate everyone in this community about HIV and STDs.
How do you like your job?
I love my job, especially going to those jails. It's very interesting.
Now, as an advanced registered nurse, that word advanced meaning that you advanced, you like fancy or something, for the health department here in Lee County. What does your job primarily consist of?
Well, I actually see patients and I'm treating them for HIV. I've been hired to be the telehealth advanced registered nurse for the entire state of Florida. So this lets us to reach people in the community that might not be able to get in and get treatment. So as soon as you are diagnosed with HIV, we try to get you in and on medication as quickly as possible.
I see. You know, one of the things when I first walked into the health department, the first one I went into was the one over on Michigan. I was over there for a meeting. And when I walked in, I saw all these different offices and people, and I didn't know that you actually had different services right there on the premise. I was surprised about that, all the different types of areas that are being addressed in our community. I said all that to say that you specialize in one area though, right?
I do HIV and PrEP, yes.
Okay. And then you seem like you do a wide range of things with your education.
Yeah, so I besides education, I also am in charge of putting community events such as health fairs and testing events in the community to provide free HIV testing and STD testing.
From time to time, you guys may partner.
Absolutely.
Right.
So whenever I find someone who's HIV positive, I just bring them over to Cathy and she treats them.
Okay. The Cathy, back to you. It seems like HIV, it's just from my perspective as a layman, it seems like it's being talked about more, and maybe that's just because I'm talking about it more on my television show, but is it, would you say that the increased awareness and conversation has changed over the years to be more out there?
It has. We still have a long way to go, though.
Right.
There's still a lot of stigma behind it. There's a lot of people who are not aware that they should be testing for it. Like Yuri had said, older people. They don't realize that they're at risk. The very younger people have grown up with this. It's not like when I was younger and it was just becoming
Gotcha.
known.
Right.
So we're better, but we still have a long way to go.
Go ahead and tag on to that, Yuri. Your
Yeah.
thoughts about the conversation.
Yeah, so when I go to specifically in jails or the older population, there you would be surprised that a lot of people still refer as HIV and AIDS as the same thing. So it is my job as an educator to clarify the difference between HIV and AIDS, meaning HIV is the virus, AIDS is the end stage of the disease, and I always chuckle every time anybody says, "Oh, you know, I'm gonna get HIV, I'm gonna get AIDS, or I want to get tested for AIDS," and I always have to, clarify and just educate them that that's not accurate. But yeah, the conversation is changing. A lot of information is coming through for PrEP, which she'll talk about that, and it's becoming more mainstream because commercials are actually being showed in the network TV, not just cable TV.
Good. Now you cover Area 8, which is Charlotte, Collier, DeSoto, Glades, Henry, Lee, and Sarasota counties.
Yes.
What are some trends? What are some things we're seeing now in the areas? What does it look like?
So in Area 8, if we put everything together, it's about 1.5 million cases that we have, or people that we have, right? And there is a 2.2 increase from last year. So we always want to educate the public on the trends that we see on new cases, decreased number of cases, new cases, and we've seen an increase in new cases of HIV and AIDS, particularly in groups. So we see that the younger population is more at risk for HIV and STDs because they are more at risk. They're engaging in more sexual activity, more so than, let's say, someone who's 30 and 40 and 50 and above. The younger, if you're in high school, if you're in college age, you're more at risk because you're exploring more. So that's the trend that we're seeing in all the counties.
When you get those trends, what happens from that point? Just a matter of educating people, or you try to target certain areas?
Yeah. So as an educator, we always try to educate the young because when you're in middle school and high school, you have very minimum education on HIV and STDs. There is a program called HOPE for freshmen in high schools here in the state of Florida, but they get just the basic education on STD, like what it is and what's HIV, and read this book, and basically that's what it is. So when I go to the school, it's kind of a complement, a supplement to the education that they receive, and I go more in depth on how you can catch it, as opposed to just have protected sex, wear a condom, that's it. People always forget that you can also catch it other ways: oral sex, anal sex, which is very, very dangerous. So my
Oral sex as well?
oral sex is very minimum. So it's not as risky as vaginal.
But you can.
Anal sex, but you can.
Okay.
There's always risks.
I want people to hear that.
No, yeah, there's always very.
See, we say everything on this TV show. Go ahead.
That's great. So do we.
Yeah. So when I do education, I always talk about all types of risk behaviors:
Good.
oral sex, anal sex, vaginal sex. Also, if you're under the influence of drugs or alcohol, you may not remember to put on a condom, or you don't put it on correctly. Hence, you are at risk of catching all the diseases. So my job is to educate the young first, because when they're having sex, or when they're about to have sex and ready to have sex, they will remember everything that I taught them. And I always use humor in my education, and I show videos, educational videos that are approved by the school board before I show them to them, and they always have a good laugh, and always come up to me after each presentation and say, hey, I learned this much. I didn't know this could happen this way. I didn't know that I could get an STD by having oral sex. I thought that I need to have intercourse or penetration to have an STD. They'll be at risk for an STD, and I show them no. Statistics show that if you have oral sex with someone that has an STD, you're gonna catch it somewhere that's not the vagina or the or the penis. You can have it in the anus, you can have it in the throat, and not know that you have it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to come back to you. I want to talk more about schools and some specific groups that are being affected. I was excited to hear about this, the pre-exposure prophylactic. Talk about that. PrEP, y'all call it PrEP.
PrEP is wonderful. So we've come so far with HIV treatment that we're getting people down to being non-detectable. If they are non-detectable, they cannot transmit HIV to anybody. So that's
Huge help.
Huge,
Right.
amazing. The other part of protecting our public and our people is getting them on PrEP. So if they're going to be at a high risk for being exposed to HIV, we try to get them on the medication PrEP, which
Called
is
PrEP.
Truvada. It's a
They
pill
take this pill.
once a day at the same time every day, and they have to be committed to coming into the wherever they're getting their PrEP from to have some lab work done every 3 months. And a couple of the things that we're watching is to make sure that they haven't gotten an acute HIV. PrEP is up there. It's better than 90% at protecting them, but it's not 100%, and it will not protect them from other sexually transmitted diseases.
All right, but that's still huge advancement.
It is
huge advancement when I heard
Yes.
that. Who needs PrEP?
Who needs PrEP? Almost everybody.
Really?
Anybody.
Or like if you dating somebody that's is HIV, well, the person who's HIV positive takes the PrEP.
No.
Yep.
The person who is HIV positive will be taking antiretroviral medication, and that's where we're trying to get them to being non-detectable. So if you're somebody who has more than 2 people, if you're having anonymous sex, if you're picking people up on things such as Grindr or what's some of the other
Scruff
ones?
or Tinder.
Okay, I don't know about all of those.
Any of
Yeah,
them,
any of
any
those
of the dating
dating
sites,
apps.
because people
GoFundMe.
unfortunately lie, and a lot of people aren't testing, so they don't even know if they're positive.
Right.
Say you're an IV drug user, if you're sharing your needles or even your work. Some people think only if you share your needles you can get HIV, but if you're using the cotton, the spoon, that kind of thing, you're at risk for HIV. If you don't know your partner's status, we would want to. If you're thinking that your partner may be cheating on you, we need to protect ourselves.
If someone came in to get PrEP, what should they expect? There'll be a conversation with you and go through that process.
Okay, so they'd make an appointment with me. I try very hard to get everybody walking out with a bottle of PrEP. So we do a rapid HIV testing. And then we need to know what you've been doing in the last 3 weeks, because there's a window that our rapid testing will not pick up, and that's 3 weeks. So we find out if you've had multiple partners, high-risk activity, sex without condoms, if you've had an STD within the last year. And then if we determine that it's safe, we'll put you on PrEP.
And one of the things is it's very important that people, the sooner the better.
Absolutely.
Be realistic with yourself.
Yes.
and take care of yourself, because I've learned through doing this is that people have a if you get detected early and get on your medications, you can live what we consider a full life, just like somebody with high blood pressure, like myself.
got it.
I take my blood pressure pill.
Yes.
Go ahead.
It's considered, before, when it first came out, it was a death sentence. It killed you. But nowadays, it's considered a chronic disease.
Right.
Like you said, like blood pressure, like diabetes. As long as you take your medication, the HIV is not going to kill you. You're going to be non-detectable. It's not going to advance to AIDS, like Yuri had talked about. And you're going to live a normal life. Something else is going to kill you. It's not going to be the HIV.
Right, like that car out there, they're smoking those cigarettes or something.
Exactly.
Hey, let's go back to you, Yuri. Is short answer on this particular one, because I want to go to a follow-up on that. But is it true now that school systems are more open to education around HIV and AIDS? I remember when I used to do these shows back in the 90s, it was hard to get in the school system because they just say abstinence and we don't need that. Or is it different school districts has different policies? Go.
So over the past few years, the legislature has changed. I remember when I was in high school, it was abstinence only, and we're talking about the 2000s, early 2000s. And then over the course of my high school stay, they switched it to, yes, health minimal health education and not as much sex education, which I think go hand in hand. But nowadays, today, it is the statute that they will provide health education along with physical education. That's what this program called HOPE comes in, and that is part of the whole state. Okay. Now, each district and each school really is very personalized and sort of customized, if you will. Each principal can go ahead and say, tweak it more to more abstinence than STDs, more abstinence than this, or more sex education than anything else. So, but the HOPE program, the curriculum, does mandate to teach about health education, sex education, along with physical education.
Okay, that's progress.
Activity.
That's
yes.
progress.
So it's very much progress.
The specific groups. Let's make sure we hit that.
Yeah, definitely. So earlier I talked about the young, the old, or older. So there has been an increase of 41%, or the statistics show that 41% of new cases of HIV come from ages 20 to 29. So that's basically college age, right? Yeah, so that's a big percentage if you think about it. Then the next percentage is 31% on older folks, so 30 to 39. Right, and this we're talking about, post-college, already stable with a partner, not playing the field as much as when you're in high school, when you're in college. But you would think that once you're an adult, or mature enough that you would know better. But sometimes you don't, Sometimes you still like to play the field, or sometimes you don't know about PrEP, don't know that you should wear condoms every single time, not just when this person is not on birth control or whatever, right? So there's a lot of factors that play in the risk of HIV, acquiring HIV and STDs. So, and something that I really want to point out is that HIV is still disproportionately affecting the Black community, the African American community. It is 8 times higher, more likely for a Black person to get HIV than a white person or even a Hispanic person.
For various social reasons. Go ahead.
And Black women as well.
Females.
Black people, definitely.
I read things about that.
They're more at risk.
I hope everybody's listening. Okay. Yeah. So first thing first is make sure you know your status, right?
Definitely.
Absolutely.
And then from there you go, does income matter? How much money you make? Can you get services if you don't have go?
Absolutely. Income does not matter. We are very, very committed to this. So if you have insurance, a lot of insurances are starting to pick it up and pay for PrEP, which is fabulous. But we also have programs out there too with Gilead and programs here with the health department that will help to make sure that you can afford your Truvada.
Right now, last question, staying with you on this, is the fact that PrEP exists right now is something that everybody needs to know about, learn about, and take advantage of if they think that they are susceptible.
Absolutely. There's no stigma to taking PrEP. It shows that you're being intelligent, that you're taking care of yourself, and you're taking care of your partners as well. So we want to stop this HIV epidemic, and this is one way to do it. You can be proactive.
Well, we're just fortunate to have people like yourself in our community. Looking forward to talking to you guys in the future. Keep up the good work, and your work is not going unnoticed, okay?
Oh, thank you very much.
Let me bump you out.
All right, wonderful.
Thanks for having us.
They're right there. As the saying goes on this particular show, for those who say it can't be done, they're usually interrupted by those like Yuris and Cathy and all the fine people at the Florida Health Department here in Lee County who are doing such a great job. We'll be right back. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching Lee Pitts Live. Of course, I'm Lee Pitts, the host of Lee Pitts Live. We're here at the Holiday Inn Airport in Fort Myers, and I want you to continue to watch Lee Pitts Live on television, on YouTube, and of course, listen to us on radio. But to get all of your shows to come right to you, just click on that subscribe button right there, and Lee Pitts Live will come right to you, your time, your way. That's Lee Pitts Live.